how many Republicans have been executed over the case of propaganda?
None.
So
No
Charlie Kirk being assassinated. Would you say that a lot
Wait,
of
he's not a candidate.
I know, I understand that he's not a candidate. He claims himself as a Republican and was serving.
Okay, so you're saying like people of the okay, well there are people of the
Yeah.
Democratic Party that also have been killed. We can reference specifically like
Yeah,
countless
but I would
individuals.
say from a standpoint of
you,
like,
I thought we were talking about politicians. Like I don't understand. If you're just talking about people of political opinions, then you have that for every political ideology, sure, right? But like we're talking about people in political office, right?
Yeah, no, I think that something to speaking from like a viewer and somebody that's coming on and talking. One of the things that I think is really disheartening in a way is that the approach to conversation doesn't always have to be from a standpoint that like, oh, I'm here, you're here, and I just know what I'm talking about, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we need to be talking about, ex-politicians and this or that. Like, I'm just openly having a conversation and just being like, hey, you know what? Like, which I mean, I guess the way that I'm trying to come across, which probably isn't being communicated in the best way possible, but I think it's just the smug attitude around things.
So I'm smug for saying that you shouldn't support a guy calling for the of people on my side of the political aisle just because he politically disagrees with them. That's smug of me to do.
No, what's smug is that when I'm having a conversation about something, you're immediately jumping to a conclusion that I'm not saying that I agree with. Like it's immediately just looking for.
This is logically entailed from the position that you're willing to overlook the fact that he called for the of his political opponents, and that this is not in support of unification. That's what I'm telling you is the implication of the view. And now, if you don't agree with that, say you don't agree with it.
I already.
That's not smug of me to say that. So
no,
if you don't agree with that, then you don't support Trump, right?
No, I already have. The thing is, though, is that if I'm going between parties, right, that's off of one topic. Would you say that you just agree or denounce a leader just off of one specific topic?
Yeah, if they call for the of their political opponents based upon unjustified reasons, I think that's a disqualifier. Yeah. Okay. I don't think we should live in a country where we're going to be like assassinating our political opponents. It's actually one of those things that's foundational to democracy.
Okay, so what you're saying is that he legitimately said word for word that he wants the of said party.
Yeah, he reposted someone saying hang them George Washington will, after saying that they engaged in seditious behavior punishable by death and that they're traitors.
Okay, now what is that like? And then just asking for clarification, not from a place of support, right? Where, in what context, what is that being used? What is it being asked for? What is the retweet about? Like where did that come from? Like,
let me just play a clip so you can see the whole context. I got you. I think you just need to like visualize it. He posted it on Truth Social, like his own Truth Social account. So I'll just show you. Alrighty, here we go.
Also, too, I think it's like really comical that based upon your chat, where they're making comments about my child and everything else. Like that's one thing too that I just don't really understand about. Like,
then they shouldn't be making comments about your kid. What comments are they making?
They're just like, oh, like his poor child, whatever else. It's funny.
They're just saying that you're a bad person. That's not even really has to do with your child.
Ignore any unlawful order given to them by him. I can't believe that this is a real video. I never thought I would be reporting this headline.
Sorry, I just
line in my life. And just to clarify, you heard me right. If you want members of our military to honor their oath and uphold the Constitution, then Donald Trump wants you dead. So here's everything that you need to know. Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. He responded to a post published by the Let
me make sure you can read the whole thing.
Yeah, it was cut out a little bit.
It says Democratic veterans in Congress urge service members to refuse unspecified unlawful orders.
Washington Examiner titled, Democratic veterans in Congress urge service members to refuse unspecified unlawful orders, by saying that this is really...
Let me make sure you can see this whole thing as well. There you go. He says, this is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up. President DJT. You can see it's in response to the Washington Examiner post.
Bad and dangerous to our country, and that their words cannot be allowed to stand. He then followed that up with a second
seditious behavior punishable by death
post that reads, this is seditious behavior punishable by death. And then he
and then he reposts someone saying, "Hang them, George Washington would." I think that's like very explicit, right? And you can see that they're replying to the Washington Examiner, like in the post.
Yeah, no, that's really messed up. If he ends up actually reposting that, that's completely messed up. Like, and I think as well too, hoping that hoping that this actually gets across is like I come in saying, being open, being on the fence. There are certain things that, yes, coming through, watching a Democratic Party or watching a Republican Party, trying to think for yourself, trying to get the facts, see things through. I can definitely admit of just being like, yeah, that's messed up. I think the one thing that I do struggle with is that it seems like the Democratic Party really has a hard time doing the same. And being like, okay, for example, you've got a bunch of stuff that's going on in Minneapolis with the Somalian government. That was about to be our vice president.
The Somali government?
No, the Somali community that was, doing a lot of fraud.
Oh, one, those individuals aren't in government. Two,
no, I'm talking about
also like that
him,
specifically was
Waltz.
headed by someone who is not Somali, right? And also,
No,
they're not
then-
proportionally more likely to commit fraud based on any evidence that's provided. There's
Then
absolutely
why
nothing
would-
to provide
why
that.
did-
There's just
why
been
did
some
Waltz-
instances of some individuals who are Somali committing fraud, right? Again,
Then
that was
why
spearheaded
would-
by an individual who wasn't Somali.
But why was Walls like? Why did he back out? Like, why did he
back
just
out of
decide
what?
for running again for Minneapolis?
Well, he claimed
Minnesota?
originally it was because of harassment towards his kids, because of shit relating to like Nick Shirley and people claiming fraud against him with literally no evidence. Now, the allegations of fraud against him aren't legitimate, but there's been other things you could point to that are legitimate against him that make sense. Like literally, he's pardoned like with three other individuals or two other individuals a convicted pedophile, right? Like
Yeah,
I think that was
that's just-
horrible, and I'm glad that
Yeah.
person was deported from the country.
Yeah, like those, even within that too. Like there's certain things that you see their background, but they'll still. There's a lot of lines from the Democratic Party, just like I think from the MAGA side, is that they'll just be like, yeah, totally. Like, if it has to do with Democratic or it has to do with like supporting them, they'll just completely overlook what they're saying and just be like, or overlook what they did. Meanwhile, though,
When did I overlook anything that a Democrat did?
no, I'm saying that majority. So
Majority
like,
of Democrats, I just don't see that either. Majority of
you don't
Democrats,
see-
I don't see a majority
you-
of Democrats. No, I think that we have a significantly more likely shot of like we're getting rid of a candidate for doing horrible things. You want me to give you specifics?
Yes, I definitely would.
Graham Plattner. I can also point to, I mean, Joe Biden had a bad performance at a debate and he dropped out because there was no basis for him to win because of that. I mean, hell, you have to understand that we place so many more standards on our politicians. We can also point to Eric Swalwell. There's multiple people there I just pointed to where we actually had a response, where we inevitably got them out of these positions. What about Andrew Cuomo? Zoran Mamdani won against Andrew Cuomo. We get these people out of our party. That's what we do. And Trump, he's the president of the Republican Party.
Yeah, so I guess a part of it is like, then why didn't y'all win?
Because of misinformation, because people decided to believe Donald Trump, which, by the way, he hasn't upheld his promises. He said he would reduce electricity prices by 50% within a year. It didn't happen. He said he would bring down prices. It didn't happen. He said he'd bring back manufacturing to this country like we've never seen before. It didn't happen. He said he said he would end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours. It didn't happen.
I would actually step into from a manufacturing standpoint. Like, I actually run the side of a company that does heavy U.S. manufacturing. And I would definitely argue against that, specifically for, the tariff portion, is that, yes, a lot of companies that have decided to just go the route of doing a majority of their outsourcing and doing majority of their manufacturing on, products that are outside of the U.S. are definitely feeling the heat for that. But anyone that has positioned themselves within a market on the U.S. market and doing domestic trade has definitely seen a major upside, and I look at it, every single day based upon the business that I work for is like, yes, I can definitely say those numbers have significantly increased for true like US based manufacturers. So I think yes, from a Democratic side, from economic side, from Democrats, is that they want to go ahead and outsource, their sourcing for products utilizing international trade. But when you decide to bring that towards the U.S., it's going to go a lot better for U.S. based manufacturers.
Okay, so if you take a look at the screen, it says real private fixed investment, non-residential structures, manufacturing. You can take a look at the level of investment. If we scroll on to the page, so I can show you the different years associated with it. This is when Trump left office for his first term, the end of his administration. Biden takes over. We see massive growth under his administration. Biden leaves office. And then you see under Trump's administration, we just see decline after decline after decline every quarter of his administration. This is real private fixed investment, non-residential structures, manufacturing. So this is manufacturing investment in the country. And it's declined every quarter of Trump's administration so far. Massively, might I say.
Yeah. So you're talking investment, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you know that a company is going to be able to decrease a majority of their overhead due to being able to source employees at a way cheaper rate, and ultimately that's going to affect their margins and increase their margins even more, being able to source for materials that are cheaper, right? With that, you're talking about the investor, billionaire investors that look at that and are like, okay, yeah, I can definitely have major upside on this. So they turn around, invest a ton of money into it because they know that it's going to climb over the duration of that time, which a lot of times it does happen with Democrats, because a lot of the Democrats, that support, especially from a business standpoint, support being able to do a lot of things internationally, especially outsourcing for employment. So bringing that back into U.S., of course, it's going to drop. I mean, that's just
this is investment. In order to bring back manufacturing to the country, you have to have more investment brought back to the country. And this investment is not being brought back to the country. We're seeing decline in investment.
Okay, but if you decided to, majority of over the course of a decade, push all your money overseas, and now, companies are, getting pretty much strung out from it. Well, bringing that back in, there's a lot of companies, especially from a corporate standpoint, that position themselves internationally. Now you've got them trying to position themselves differently. Like out here where I'm at, you've got Volkswagen that's trying to position themselves. They were trying to do it cross-border over into Mexico. Now they're struggling to try to get that back into U.S. because, they decided to make their investments in that area. Probably didn't know whether or not Trump was going to get into office. Now they got to make different adjustments. I think that that's just part of business and trade. That's not anything from one person's losing, another person's gaining. I think that's just a part of capitalism as well. It happens, year over year over year. So, looking at that business wise, you're saying that it's tanking, but at the same time as well, this would be the best time to allow it to go down in order to invest on the bottom end.
That makes no fucking sense. I'm sorry. That was just straight bullshit. I'm just going to be honest with you. The investment has declined, okay? What we would have expected to see with tariffs is investment increase. Why have we seen investment decline? Well, because many of the materials that come from other countries around the world, they go up in price because the tariffs in place that are universal, which causes manufacturing in this country to be more costly, which reduces the incentive to manufacture in this country. So all you've done is outsource jobs to a greater extent. That's it. You haven't brought back manufacturing to this country.
Well, when you've decided to outsource a majority of your work outside of this country, and you act as if there's not going to be a stop or a split, yes, you're going to feel the pain of it up front first. Then, once the things drop, just because there's no investment right now doesn't mean that it's not going to over the course of the next year or two. The same thing, if you look back at your chart, you can go back in your chart from prior, and it's not like it's just like, it's constant up and down. So you're saying that it's like, what you said
it's constant up and down. We saw a massive increase under Biden's administration. It's not constant up and down in the manner in which we've seen it, right? The level in which we've seen is not constant up and down and at the level of rate.
Okay,
Let me show you on the screen. You see the rate decline? That's not constant comparative to what we saw prior. You see very gradual declines between 2015 to 2017 and then 2019 to 2020. This is under Trump's first term.
You're talking over the course of when there was COVID.
That's Trump's first term. Wait.
That was
prior to
during
COVID.
the course.
This is prior to
during
COVID.
the course of COVID, and then everything from there because they're trying to get the economy back up.
This is prior to COVID, so it would have gone up to this level right here, maximum. You see, that's about the same level it was prior to COVID. Okay, but it went up way higher. This is 2014, and I can show you. Let me make it so it's visible to you. You see, and that's after a recession, by the way. This is the Great Recession right here.
Yes.
Right here, this is the Great Recession.
Yes.
So I just want to clarify. That's what that's associated with, and we had a greater decline under Trump's administration.
If you pull that back up, go ahead and pull that back up, and go back where we're at right now. And then go back to where you said that there was a greater decline back in the recession.
No, this is a lesser decline. It's a longer period of time, and it's less than what we see under Trump.
How's that less? That seems like the same decline, which in a sense too, I would even say we've been on the brink of a recession for quite some time.
Okay, I mean, not even saying that this is indicative of a recession. I'm just saying it's indicative of the industry not doing very great.
Yeah, which again, if you're on the brink of a recession, just turning around is blaming that off the course of somebody that just gets in the office.
Wait, this is due to Trump though. This is due to his universal tariffs.
To bring back into the U.S.
It hasn't brought back investment to this country. You guys said that it's going to bring back investment to this country. That's why I brought up that graph.
Yeah, but also too, what I'm saying is that based upon the tariffs, are you looking at the graphs in between of what's coming in versus what's going out?
Tariffs in terms, you mean imports versus exports?
Yeah. So if you're looking at it from
relevant, why is this relevant to manufacturing?
Because you're saying that from a manufacturing standpoint and cost of goods standpoint, if we're increasing tariffs, and that's in a sense of where money would be coming in to the U.S. for our interests, right? You're talking about investment into companies, within manufacturing, but a majority of that stuff has been completely outsourced over the duration of that time. So if you see a decline in investment due to the fact that you're investing a majority of that money outsourced and not bringing it back in, but you also have tariffs that are higher of goods coming into the U.S. or being shipped. So, I'm looking at, if you're comparing the two numbers there,
we would likely see less imports because of tariffs, because it reduces the likelihood that they're going to trade with us.
What if they're forced to?
I don't know. I mean, if they're forced to, then they have to continue engaging with that trade, which doesn't mean they're going to increase costs. It just means that for our consumers, going to increase costs.
I'm sorry, for us?
Yeah. Tariffs are paid mostly by U.S. consumers. According to the Kiel Institute, they're mostly paid by U.S. consumers. They're paid directly by the American business importing the product, and it's passed on mostly to the consumer, because it's an aspect of cost of production, right? Not specifically placed on profits.
Would you not say that is due to the fact of outsourcing a majority of our work to companies that are outside of the U.S.?
Wait, say that one more time?
Would you not say that is because of the fact that over a long duration of time, we decided to go ahead and outsource a majority of our manufacturing outside of the U.S.?
It's not a decision that we made. It's something that happened naturally in the free market.
Yeah, so...
I'm confused what you're saying. Why do people portray it this way? This is something naturally that's been happening in the market. It's not something that politicians just decided they just wanted to let jobs go to overseas. No, that wasn't the point. The point was that the conditions in the market naturally led to that. Now, when it comes to the reduction in real domestic manufacturing investment, that's due to the fact that the Trump administration is not continuing the increase in investment that we've seen under the Biden administration. So that was downstream of Biden's policies that we saw those increases, and that Trump didn't continue those policies, which inevitably will lead to the industry failing more.
I think it would inevitably be the corporations that decided to make the decisions that they made. Like you're talking that it's over the course of time. Yeah, but it's not due to politicians, it's due to corporations.
Yeah. It is literally due to the Biden infrastructure bill, the Chips and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act. Those are all investment into manufacturing in this country. Include that.
Yeah.
Which is obviously going to spur investment in the market.
Yeah, but you can even say in spurring an investment in the market, if you're looking at only for manufacturing, okay, are we looking into anything else? Are we looking into tech?
You think there's more investment into tech? What's the source? Proportionally in terms of the growth. That there's more investment into tech currently.
That stuff too, right?
Go ahead. Because that's what we would expect to see investment lower still because interest rates are still higher than what we'd expect for this particular time because Donald Trump has imposed tariffs in the war with Iran that have kept inflation up, that have limited the Federal Reserve from being able to.
So we're saying that tech is lower in investment.
I would say it's
right?
likely. Sorry, oh my gosh, it's likely lower. If you'd like to provide a source, otherwise, I'm just saying it's likely lower based on how investment is functioning currently.
I want to make sure that I don't end up.
Give me a second. I'm going to thank some people in the meantime. Josh, thank you very much for the $20. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate the $20. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me see if I can see the whole message. Please keep doing what you're doing. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll definitely make sure to keep doing that. Thank you so much for the kind words. Kaylee, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $3. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Exactly, right? As well as Ruben, thank you so much for the $1. Thank you very much. Kara, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe I will. That's really funny. Jennifer, thank you for the $2. Thank you very much. And Blair, thank you very much for the $20 for the favorite trillionaire. Thank you very much. Andrea, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Get some W's for them in the comment section right now. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Again, I think I saw that earlier, and I don't think that there's anything in specific I could say. As well as Mayra, thank you very much for the $10. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Well, thank you for letting me know. I'll definitely make sure to write that down for the future and to not do this. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I didn't know that. Thank you very much, Mayra. As well as Tommy, thank you very much for the $5. Thank you very much. Put some W's for Tommy in the comment section right now. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Thomas, thank you very much for the $1 as well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Very true. I don't know why that guy was so ridiculous about it. Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, so it's it's up 19.6%.
Okay.
Since he's been in.
And what's the source?
Axios, US Bank.
Axios, US Bank. Okay. Let me see. Axios, and what's the title? Alrighty, give him a second. Looks like he's still trying to find it. Do you know the title? The title's the big text at the top of the screen. Tina, thank you very much to Leon. Thank you very much. Hello? Okay.
Yeah, it's cutting out every single time that I'm trying.
Yeah, you have to tell me. You have to remember and then tell me.
To be. It's so funny though because oh my god.
What's so funny?
I think that you would gain a lot of people, probably including myself, if you really were just like a humble human being.
What did I do that was not humble? I'm asking you for a source right now, dude.
No, but it's just the comments and everything else. It's really the fact that you're acting as if like it's not happening.
No, just tell me. Just be specific. Funnier. I don't know what you're referencing. Be specific.
Because you're like, oh, well, it's a title. It's it's the bold letters at the top, and it's like, dude, obviously, if we're sitting here, like, if we were to have like a conversation, face to face,
let me just tell you, you have no clue how many people come on my stream that don't know that. I'm simply just saying that because I think that you're probably looking into it, and you might not know that's possible. That happens a lot on my stream. I apologize if you find that condescending. That's just because I typically deal with people that don't know that. So if you're out of the app and I don't hear you, that's what I'm going to assume you're looking for, and you just can't find it. Yeah, I didn't know you were speaking while you were out of the app.
Yeah, no, I was speaking because it just keeps cutting out every single time.
Yeah, when you swipe out of the app and you can't see me, I can't hear you. You have to be in the app for me to be able to hear you. Like, I can't hear you then, now I can hear you.
Yeah, no, it's that every single time I'm trying to go back to the source, then it's cutting out or it's trying to reload, and I don't want to end up missing, what.
Yeah, all you have to do is go back, look at the source, look at the title, memorize the title, come back into the app, tell me the title that you memorized, and then I can search it up.
Trump 2.0 stock market underperforms Trump 1.0.
Trump stock market underperforms Trump 1.0?
Yeah, Trump stock market 2.0 underperforms Trump 1.0.
Okay.
That's with and that's Axios.
Okay. Axios. Okay, and where in the article are you referencing? Because all it's just saying is that S&P 500 growth is lower. This is just talking about the stock market, man.
This is up 19.4% over within his first term was 32%. So it's saying that it's up, in the course of, this year, it's up 19.4% over his last term. I believe that his last term was actually 32.4% up within the tech.
Okay.
Which, I mean,
so it
you
doesn't
would
say anything
assume,
with tech. Are you saying NASDAQ?
within it's tech heavy within the NASDAQ.
Okay, so you're saying NASDAQ grew at a higher rate.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at NASDAQ growth. Alrighty. Let's take a look. We can go under the Biden administration, the last year and a half under his administration, which means we'll go to about June or so. Starts at 13,240. We'll write that down.
I
We
wish
always
I
do the
was
math. It
informed.
always says that it's better for Biden's admin. 13,240. Okay, and then yeah, it was right. And then at the end of Biden's administration, it was 19,954. And then since Trump has gotten office, it's now 24,800. 800. Looks like the growth rate is pretty similar. We'll see what it is though. Let me do a percentage change calculator.
I wish that I had a laptop in front of me or something.
Okay.
But
Yeah, the initial value, if we put it at 13,000 and we put the final value at 19,950, the percent change is about 50.71%. 50.71. Okay, and then under the difference between Trump's administration so far, we've seen it increase by from 19,954 to about 24,800, which has about 24% change. So the growth was 2 times higher under Biden.
this was under.
This is for NASDAQ. Yeah, NASDAQ was 2 times higher in growth the last year and a half under Biden's administration than the first year and a half under Trump. Dude, this level of growth is pretty diabolically huge, bro. I'm not going to lie. NASDAQ is interesting. It's really, really shooting up.
Am I?
You there? Hello?
You froze up. I was trying to make sure that I'm not
Oh,
freezing at myself.
Yeah, so yeah, the NASDAQ, that specifically grew 50%, 50.71% under Trump's administration. Or not under Trump, under the Biden, the last year and a half under Biden. And the first year and a half under Trump, it's gained 24.28. So it gained nearly twice as much under Biden as it did under Trump in the last year and a half under Biden compared to the first year and a half under Trump.
And we're continuing, and it's continuing to climb.
Yeah, but it was growing at a lower
Right.
rate by nearly half the rate it was under the last year and a half under Biden. All right, give him a second, everybody. I think he needs to think about this information for a second. Give a second, everybody. Again, when you're out of the app, we can't hear you. Just letting you know. Alrighty.
So is this from from the climb in November? Because we'd be looking at it from November, right? Before officially completely into office.
I went to January 20th when Biden left office. January 20th,
Okay, so-
2025.
Okay, so would you, in a sense, be looking at it from a standpoint of that you've got a current election going on that is either going to swing in a favor or outside of a favor due to whoever's going to actually be within office?
If you want me to
Right.
cut off like the January point and then go to like November, it will still be a higher growth rate by far because the growth rate is different by 2 times, dude.
It would,
By 2
I
times.
was saying that it would be if we're going to go by November, it would probably be around like 30% difference.
No. If you go November 2024, is that what you're saying? That's 19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
November 2024 to
Yeah, that's
you
that's
know,
19,218. It's compared to 19,954. The difference is 700 points. That's a pretty small percent.
we're talking within like S&P 500.
You think 700 points will be 20%? You think that will account for 20%? And this is the basis for
Dude,
you
it's like
claiming that
20
Trump was better in
28%.
one way. And you failed even on that. Every single time someone brings up one of these points, it's always true that there's less growth under Trump's administration. It's always been true. It's true with Dow Jones, S&P 500, NASDAQ. It's true for all of them.
Mind you, this is genuinely coming from a place that I'm checking sources and checking facts, trying before like just speaking off the rip on anything.
Okay. So given that you have seen the facts now, what do you think?
I think that it is. It is low. It is lower than it's lower than Biden's. Um, more so. I guess what I'm looking at from and trying to keep a reasonable lens here. You've got code that took place the last time. That absolutely completely tanked the market. Then you're rolling into this election here, where inevitably as well that we're trending even in a direction of complete inflation on top of a recession on the brink. So in terms of it climbing and trying to be reasonable about it, if you're growing and even in a sense of like 19% or so in the middle of a time where we've got inflation completely rising like crazy and a significant drop, I think that that's like, and it's funny too, because I see the chat going like, I don't look at this as losing. I look at this as trying to have a conversation with all obviously going to be bettering myself. It's obviously going to be bettering people here to have conversation to figure it out, because either way, again, I'm not swinging in one way or the other. Like genuinely trying to have a conversation, even think for myself as to what I support and what I don't. So I think that that's in general. I think if more people just decided to do that versus just arguing complete nonsense, I think it would just be better off anyways, right?
Okay. So what have you learned?
I think from what I learned is that there's a lot of things that are in your face 24/7 saying one thing. And when you start digging into the facts and actually doing the research for yourself, you end up coming to find things out. Even if you are kind of set in your ways, or whether or not you've got personal things against them, that you can just open your eyes and just be like, okay, you know what? Biden did better. How do you change that in the future? I think for me, it's like for the Democratic Party is, would love a better candidate. Would love, I feel like a lot of times Democrats are kind of all over the place in terms of, what we're actually supporting in policy wise. Because I think there's so many areas in which they try to champion when, if we could just get some of the basics down, that'd be really beneficial. But, I would definitely say that I'm curious to know if a different candidate does come about, because I don't, Harris is not really a choice of mine, but
like she's better than Trump, right?
I don't know, man. Based upon her, I don't know. I can't really bring myself around to it. I believe that there's a lot of other women that are there that I think would be a much better candidate.
You could say that. You could say that you think other women are better candidates. That's totally fair. What you're not understanding, though, is that she's a preferable candidate to Trump. That's all we're saying. And she's also a preferable candidate to Biden, right?
But is this coming from a place of like she's announced that she's going to be running? Or because I don't even think that she's officially announced that she'd be.
Wait, she was the last candidate.
Yeah, she was the last candidate.
Yeah, that's why we're referencing her.
Forward,
And she's very likely to run again. So.
It seems like she hasn't really like made that precedent.
The only person who's announced for 2028 yet is Trump.
I feel like Harris too, though, kind of came in like kind of out of left field the last time. Like I think it would be better if she just decided, hey, this is my intentions, and allows even for the Democratic Party to start, being like, hey, okay, like, yeah, this could definitely be a thing. I think before she just kind of came in out of nowhere. I don't even think that she was fully elected by the Democratic Party, and then, just decides to run. And then it's like, oh, well, this is going to be successful. It's probably not. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it.
Okay. So I guess like at this point, if the election were held today, Harris versus Trump, or you could choose not to vote, what would you choose to do?
I'd probably choose not to vote. I mean, this last time, I completely chose not to vote.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go on to the next person here. I do appreciate you coming up. You can keep watching, and maybe I'll be able to change your mind on more of the specifics to get you to think Democrats are preferable. But yeah, that's really the goal at this point. But yeah, I appreciate you coming up.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.